All right, everybody, how we doing? Welcome to Thursday Bible study. What then? Israel have not obtained, talking about the bloodline, not the church, because Israel is the church and the church is Israel per Acts 7:38. What then? Israel have not obtained that which he seeketh for, but the election have obtained it, and the rest were blinded. When you get to verse 25, he's going to say, and blindness in part has happened to Israel until the fullness of the Gentiles be come in. That's when the last non-bloodline person gets the call, I believe, at the abomination that causes desolation. When the last Gentile comes, boom, the bloodline will be awakened. And that's why Jesus was saying, flee, you that are in Judea, flee, get out. That's how you know it's in a real temple. Not that we just didn't go over it in Daniel 9:27 and 26 and 25, where it talked about, the sanctuary, made it desolate. But that's why Jesus is saying flee Judea, because it's taking place in Judea. That's where the abomination that causes desolation happens. It's in the coming third temple. Well, our temple of God is no longer anything man-made. It's talking about, though, to the Jew. That's what Romans 11 is to. So this is the situation. Most of the people of Israel have not found favor with God they are looking for so earnestly. A few have, the ones God has chosen, his elect, but the hearts of the rest were hardened, as the scriptures say. God has put them into a deep sleep. He's going to wake up the remnant. And David saith, let their table be made a snare and a trap and a stumbling block and a recompense unto them. Their eyes will be darkened. Let their eyes be darkened, that they may not see, and bow down their back always. I say then, have they stumbled that they should fall? God forbid. But rather, through their fall, salvation is come. Now what? Unto the Gentiles, because the bloodline messed up. So now the grace is expanded to the non-bloodline. Has come unto the Gentiles for to provoke them to jealousy. Is it really just to provoke them to jealousy? Well, I'm in hope of being a sheep. So let's just say for this teaching that I'm a sheep. And I'm only in hope of being a sheep. I'm certainly not 100% sure I'm a sheep. You never are, because you're in that repentant process. If I was 100% sure, trust me, the repenting would stop. If I knew for sure, if God opened the clouds and spoke to me and said, you're a sheep, you're a sheep, trust me, you're a sheep, one or two things would happen. I could go back to my sin, but what's he going to do? He's going to beat me. But it kind of messes up the repentant process a little bit if you know for sure. That's why it always speaks of the blessed hope. We're in hope of being a sheep. Like Paul said, strive to win the race. Well, if you're already 100% sure you're saved, the race is already over. It's already over. What have I got to do? I don't got to do nothing. I'm good. No. So let's get back. Sorry. God hath put them in a deep sleep to this day. He has shut their eyes so that they do not see, and close their ears that they do not hear. Likewise, David said, let their bountiful table become a snare, a trap that makes them think all is well. See what happens when you think all is well? That's why it's a hope. Let their blessings cause them to stumble. Let them get what they deserve. Let their eyes go blind so they cannot see. Let their backs be bent forever. Did God's people stumble and fall away beyond recovery? Of course not. They were disobedient, so God made salvation available to the Gentiles. It was always part of the plan. Oh, that's what I was going to say. So let's just say I'm a sheep, even though I'm just in hope of being a sheep. But let's just say that I'm a sheep. So if I'm a sheep, wasn't I a sheep before the foundation of the world? Yes. So this story that sounds like cause and effect isn't really cause and effect. This was the plan. All along, this was the plan. This was the plan. This was the plan. All along, this was the plan. Declaring the end from the beginning, from ancient times to the things that are not yet done, saying, my counsel shall stand, I will do my pleasure. He has declared Revelation from Genesis, the end from the beginning. Already declared, folks. It's already been done. It's all good. You with me? So if I'm a sheep, that already took place before the foundation of the world. But he wanted his own people to become jealous and claim it for themselves. Now, if the Gentiles were enriched, which was always meant to be, because the people of Israel, now is this all Gentiles? No, it's just sheep Gentiles, sheep non-bloodline and sheep of bloodline. That's all this is about. The sheep of bloodline are referred to as a remnant. Turn down God's offer of salvation. Think how much greater a blessing the world will share when they finally accept it. Let me start that over. Now, if the Gentiles were enriched because the people of Israel turned down God's offer of salvation, think how much greater a blessing the world, the cosmos, which is his harmonious arrangement. So, and I'm sure it says the world here too. Nope. Now, if the fall of them be the riches of the world and the diminishing of them, the riches of the Gentiles, how much more their fullness? Just talking about the Gentile sheep. Very good. Like the King James Version, much better. John 3:16, of course, is messed up in the King James, but that's because the Catholic Erasmus wrote the Textus Receptus, known as the received text from the original Greek scriptures, which was used to write the King James. Erasmus believed in man's free will. He was a humanist, and Textus Receptus was what was used when half Catholics who believed in free will and half Protestants who did not put together, arguing, fussing, and fighting over the King James Version. If by any means I may provoke to, let's just keep going here. I am saying this especially for you Gentiles. In other words, sheep non-bloodline. God has appointed me as the apostle to y'all. I stress this, for I want somehow to make the people of the bloodline jealous of what you non-bloodliners have. So I might save some of them. Does he save them? Of course not, because he's the one that tells you that grace is God doing all of the work, especially in the Gospel of John 6:39, 6:44, 6:65, where it clearly states, Jesus clearly states twice, no man can come to him except the Father draw him. Man has no free will whatsoever. Romans 9:16 states the exact same thing. Romans 9:11 through 24 states the fairness of it. For since their rejection meant that God offered salvation to the sheep non-bloodline, their sheep non-bloodline acceptance will be even more wonderful. It will be life for those who were dead. And since Abraham and the other patriarchs were holy, their descendants will also be holy. Now, is he talking about all the bloodline all the way through that never knew Jesus, all the way through their death? Or is he talking about the end times remnant? I think he's talking about their ancestors, just the end times remnant. I think while they're blinded, those that died with the blindness, because it clearly states, if you don't know the Father, didn't we look for that the other day? If you don't know the Father, excuse me, if you don't know the Son, the Father is not in you. If you do not know the Son, the Father is not in you, Bible verse. We did look for that the other day, didn't we? But if I do, on that day you will know that I am my Father. We looked for it. We eventually found it. I can't remember how that went. I'm pretty sure we found it. It was tough to find, assuming we did. Their acceptance will be even more wonderful. It will be life to those. So their descendants will also be holy, just as the entire batch of dough is holy, because the portion given as an offering is holy. Well, that says entire batch. For if the roots of the tree are holy, the branches will be also. I don't know. When you read in the King James, for if the casting away of them be the reconciling of the Gentiles, non-bloodline, what shall the receiving of them be but life from the dead? For if the first fruit be holy, the lump is also holy. And if the root be holy, so are the branches. No, I think it's just talking about the remnant still. The New Living will throw you off. Let's go to Daniel. And in the 4 and 20th day of the first month, as I was by the side of the great river, which is Hiddekel, then I lifted up mine eyes and looked, and behold, a certain man clothed in linen, whose loins were girded with fine gold of Uphaz. His body also was like beryl, in his face the appearance of lightning, and his eyes were as lamps of fire, and his arms and his feet like in color to polished brass, and the voice of his words like the voice of the multitude. I do believe that's Jesus in the green. And that's the great vision, the voice of his words. And then the rest is an angel. That's why I separated them in color, because I've gotten in trouble with this before. This is tough. And I, Daniel, alone saw the vision of what? Jesus. So we can put the vision in green also. Well, as we do down there. For the men that were with me saw not the vision, but a great quaking fell upon them, so they fled to hide themselves. In other words, they were scared out of their minds. Therefore I was left alone and saw this great vision of Jesus, and there remained no strength in me, for my comeliness was turned in me unto corruption, and I retained no strength. So his strength absolutely left him. Yet heard I the voice of his words, of Jesus in the vision, and when I heard the voice of his words, then I was in a deep sleep on my face, and my face toward the ground. I don't know why I put that in pink. Let's keep it in green. And behold, an hand touched me. This is different. This is now an angel, which sat upon me my knees. So a man touched him, which was an angel, and then he sat up upon the palms of his hands. And the angel said unto him, O Daniel, a man greatly beloved, understand the words that I speak unto thee, and stand upright, for unto thee I am now sent. And when he had spoken this word unto me, I stood up trembling. Love y'all very much. Ask questions anytime. Justin, glad you're here, brother.